How's it going, everybody? I'm Stella Chung, and this is the Weekly Fix, the show where we round up all the gaming and entertainment headlines you made this week. We're back after a week off, and we've got a jam-packed show for you. I mean, Bethesda has been proactive in responding to negative reviews of Starfield, nearly half of CDPR is working on The Witcher 4, a major PlayStation lawsuit is moving forward in court, Marvel's movies are in for an interesting 2024, and there was a major shift at Lucasfilm. Okay. That's not even half of it. I wasn't kidding when I said we had a packed show for you. So, without wasting any more time, let's get to the first story.
Bethesda has taken the unusual step for a AAA video game developer of responding to negative reviews of Starfield on Steam. As spotted by Project Zomboid developer Andy Hodgetts, representatives of the Microsoft-owned company have been replying to negative reviews on Valve's platform since early November amid Starfield's mixed user review rating of 69%. Many of the negative reviews echo common complaints with the sprawling space game, like this one, posted on November 6th, from a player with 56 hours in Starfield. Boring and overrated, there's a wide universe to explore, filled mostly with empty planets. I understand they have to do that to sell you on the idea that this is a whole universe, but that doesn't make the game more fun. You can land on any planet and explore the copy-pasted locations. You will see the exact same locations from one end of the universe to the other and everywhere in between, as wide as the ocean and as deep as a puddle. You can explore everywhere, but why would you want to? This review sparked a response from someone called Bethesda Kraken developer, who signed off their post as coming from Bethesda customer support. Greetings! Thank you for taking the time to leave a review for Starfield. We are sorry that you do not like landing on different planets and are finding many of them empty. Some of Starfield's planets were meant to be empty by design, but that's not boring. Quote, when the astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there, they certainly weren't bored, end quote. The intention of Starfield's exploration is to evoke a feeling of smallness in players and make you feel overwhelmed. You can continue to explore and find worlds that do have resources you need or hidden outposts to look through. Never stop exploring, Bethesda customer support. Bizarrely, the response quotes Ashley Chang, Bethesda's managing director, who uttered the phrase, when the astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there, they certainly weren't bored, in a New York Times feature published ahead of Starfield's September launch. But it's not like this is some famous quotation. Why are they quoting their coworker? Here's a more recent response, again from the busy Bethesda Kraken, to a similar negative review from a Starfield player with over 76 hours on record who also found it boring. You can fly, you can shoot, you can mine, you can loot. Starfield is an RPG with hundreds of hours of quests to complete and characters to meet. Most quests will also vary on your character's skills and decisions, massively changing the outcome of your playthrough. Try creating different characters with backgrounds and characteristics that clash or are the opposite of previous characters. You will feel like you are playing a totally different game. Put points in different skills from a character you've previously created, and you are now faced with completely different decisions to make and difficulties to encounter. There are so many layers to Starfield that you will find things you never knew were possible after playing for hundreds of hours. So, Bethesda is responding to reviews that say Starfield is boring by saying, nuh-uh. While indie video game developers respond to Steam reviews all the time, big publishers like Bethesda rarely get stuck in, which makes these responses noteworthy. Why would Bethesda bother? It may be trying to steer Starfield's sentiment in a more positive direction, mindful of that troublesome mixed user review rating. Starfield is currently the lowest rated Bethesda game ever on Valve's platform. Fallout 76 currently has a mostly positive user review rating of 76%, if you're wondering, and management will no doubt be keen to address that. Of course, there's a risk that comes from responding to negative reviews, particularly when you use them to insist landing on empty planets isn't boring. Indeed, I didn't find a single IGN commenter on this article that was convinced by Bethesda's arguments. Bethesda has updated Starfield a number of times since its launch, the latest patch 1.8.86 added DLSS support. The studio already has a Starfield post-launch story expansion pack in the works called Shattered Space, and development chief Todd Howard told IGN in an interview earlier this year that Bethesda plans to release a lot of add-on content for the space exploration game. Moving on, nearly half of CD Projekt Red is now working on The Witcher 4, codenamed Polaris, following the release of the Cyberpunk 2077 expansion Phantom Liberty. Confirmation arrived during CD Projekt's latest earnings report, which indicated almost 330 developers, or just under 50% of its staff, were working on the highly anticipated sequel as of October 31st. The CEO also confirmed the company expects more than 400 developers will be working on Polaris by mid-2024. The report also has more than 25% of developers listed as in transfer as they transition away from Phantom Liberty, and the company has said previously that many of those team members would join Polaris alongside the Cyberpunk sequel, codenamed Orion, and other projects. As for its development stage, CD Projekt Red hasn't said anything since it confirmed Polaris had entered pre-production back in May of 2022, but it's at least exciting to know that production is really ramping up on the sequel to one of the most beloved games of all time.
We're almost to the final month of 2023, and that means more free games coming to PlayStation Plus. Sony has announced that LEGO 2K Drive, Power Wash Simulator, and Sable will be coming to the service. LEGO 2K Drive is an open-world arcade-style racer, kind of like Forza Horizon, but with the ability to transform your car to fit the terrain, going from speedy boats to off-road racers to street-ready cars, like Ubisoft's The Crew 2, and its hot swapping system. We really dug this game, giving it an 8 out of 10 in our review. If you completely forgot about this game, I did too, it might be because it dropped a week after Tears of the Kingdom did. And I think a lot of people were busy building wacky contraptions in that, but it seems like a perfect family-friendly game to play over the holiday break. If you want something a little slower paced, Power Wash Simulator is exactly what it sounds like. You clean things with a power washer. You're given jobs cleaning things like dirty trains, mud-covered vans, and filthy rugs. Power Wash Simulator is also known for its bizarre collabs. Most recently, you're given the task of cleaning the time-traveling DeLorean and the Hill Valley Clock Tower from Back to the Future. Other crossovers include power washing Lara Croft's mansion from Tomb Raider and cleaning up the Seventh Heaven bar from Final Fantasy VII. Alright, the mansion I get, but I mean, come on, dive bars are supposed to be dirty. That's part of the charm. And rounding out the headlining trio of games is Sable, an adventure game with a heavy emphasis on puzzle solving and exploration. The game is all about the vibes. There's no fail state, no combat, and no concrete objective. You jump on your hover bike and explore an open desert world rendered in a very striking minimalistic art style. We gave it a 7 out of 10, praising the visuals but criticizing it for some bugs. But hey, it's received a few updates since its original launch back in 2021, so your mileage may vary. Excited to try any of these games? Let me know in the comments. Last year, a lawsuit was filed against Sony claiming the company abused its position as the main seller of digital games on the PlayStation Store by charging a 30% commission to developers and publishers. Now, despite the efforts of Sony's lawyers, a London tribunal is allowing it to move forward. This legal action is also on behalf of customers too. On a website that details the lawsuit, the FAQ page has a section that reads, "Sony has been exploiting its UK customers by charging them too much for PlayStation digital games and in-game content via its control over the entire PlayStation ecosystem." They called it anti-competitive, the same label Microsoft was attempting to shed in its acquisition battle for Activision Blizzard. When announcing the lawsuit last year, consumer rights advocate Alex Neil claimed that gaming is the biggest entertainment industry in the UK above all other media. Going on to say, many vulnerable people rely on gaming for community and connection. The actions of Sony are costing millions of people who can't afford it, particularly when we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis and the consumer purse is being squeezed like never before. The estimated damages per individual over the last 6 years range from £67 to £562, which is about $79 to $664 US. This excludes interest, which the lawsuit claims adds up to £5 billion total. Neil said, "With this legal action, I am standing up for the millions of UK people who have been unwittingly overcharged. We believe Sony has abused its position and ripped off its customers." We've known about the lawsuit for a while, but with the news that it's moving forward, you can expect to hear more about it in the coming weeks. We'll keep you posted as the story develops. So sticking with the theme of players preferring old games over shiny new ones, the 17-year-old real-time strategy game Star Wars Empire at War is still getting updates. Released in 2006, Empire at War takes place between the prequel and original trilogies, but it's the multiplayer that's kept people around. Online functionality died in 2014, but then was revived through the Steam version with workshop support. Earlier this month, developer Petroglyph updated Empire at War with a maintenance patch that made minor bug fixes, player balance changes, and optimized performance. The latest patch after that update converted both Empire at War and its expansion Forces of Corruption from 32-bit to 64-bit, solving a lot of memory bugs and crashes. Petroglyph also addressed multiplayer out-of-sync issues and numerous gameplay fixes, addressing balance and incorrect unit behavior. It's incredibly sweet to see the developer come back to a beloved game to give it a few tweaks and love after all of these years. There's around 2,000 concurrent players on Steam at any moment, so multiplayer matches are definitely not an issue. Though now fans are wondering if Petroglyph has something up their sleeve with a potential remake or sequel. Hopefully Empire at War fans can get some surprising updates next year. Speaking of Marvel games, at Fan Expo San Francisco this weekend, Tony Todd, the voice actor for Venom in Spider-Man 2, said Insomniac only used 10% of his character's dialogue in the game. A clip from Evan Filarka at Fan Expo caught Todd explaining that some of his voice work for Venom may be saved for the future. Spoilers ahead if you haven't played or haven't finished Spider-Man 2. Just skip ahead if you're worried about any story reveals. During the same panel, Todd said he recorded lines for when Miles Morales had the symbiote. Those scenes were obviously scrapped, so fans are now speculating this could lead to a potential spin-off or DLC. This would line up with Insomniac stating they wouldn't be against making a Venom spin-off if fans really wanted it after seeing how fans reacted to Spider-Man 2. John Paquette, senior narrative director at Insomniac, said, "We're gonna listen to the fans and we're gonna ask ourselves, okay, what do the fans really want? We'll kind of talk about stuff after we've all had time to sleep and take vacations." Hopefully next year we'll hear more about potential DLC and spin-offs, but I think we won't have to wait too long before getting more Venom in Spider-Man 2. The original game got 3 DLC chapters, so I can't imagine the sequel would not be given the same treatment, even if the DLC formula is tweaked this time around. It's about time for a quick break, but when we come back, we're looking into a possible GTA 5 and Bully 2 leak, the contender for the worst game of 2023, what's up with the MCU in 2024, and a whole lot more. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We've got an update on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and the contender for what might be the worst game of 2023, and also why Sony is going to release more Marvel content in 2024 than Disney. Who saw that coming? But first, let's look into evidence of a possible scrapped GTA 5 story expansion.
As the world waits for the premiere of the Grand Theft Auto 6 debut trailer early next month, further evidence has emerged of scrapped plans for additional GTA 5 story content as well as Bully 2. Now, as spotted by VGC, the latest news comes from the alleged leak of a database file for GTA 5, which is being dug into by the community. Now, according to Twitter user Billsy Liam GTA, who credits GTA data miners, this file includes reference to the unreleased Bully 2. Now, for the uninitiated, Bully is Rockstar's 2006 game about a juvenile delinquent student who rises through the ranks of Bullworth Academy. The fans have long called for a sequel, which was once in development at Rockstar's New England studio in the late 2000s, sometime around the release of GTA 4's story expansion and Red Dead Redemption. Now, Billsy Liam GTA adds there's a reference to GTA 5 playable character Trevor with a jetpack, which suggests story mode content was repurposed into GTA Online. Now, in 2018, Rockstar finally unveiled GTA Online's Doomsday Heist missions alongside Thruster, a jetpack that's still exclusive to the multiplayer mode to this day. Now, it didn't take long for, of course, modders to add that jetpack into GTA 5 story mode, of course. Yeah, it's freaking awesome. Now, GTA 5 never did receive significant story DLC despite the constant call from fans. Now, Rockstar instead focused on a money printer GTA Online, which a decade on from GTA 5's initial release is still going strong. Now, meanwhile, Twitter user GlowDevs reveals reference to CNC, which is thought to relate to the Cops and Crooks mode that was reportedly intended for GTA Online. Now, all this relates to past content, of course, and with Rockstar's focus now firmly on GTA 6, it's doubtful it will ever see the light of day. But that hasn't stopped GTA and Bully fans from wondering what might have been had Rockstar taken a different path and released GTA 5 Story Mode DLC as well as Bully 2. At least, there's finally an official reveal of GTA 6 to look forward to. The debut trailer is due in early December, and you can expect to find plenty of coverage right here at IGN. And finally today, Walking Dead fans rise up because The Walking Dead Destinies launched last week with little fanfare, but it didn't take long for it to emerge as yet another worst game of 2023 contender from the same company. Get this, the same company that published last month's disastrous Skull Island Rise of Kong. Now, The Walking Dead Destinies is developed by little-known Brazilian studio Flux Games and published by Minneapolis-based Game Mill Entertainment. Now, last month, the publisher's phone-in King Kong cash-in went viral for its terrible visuals, gameplay, and cutscenes. Now, our review awarded it a 3 out of 10, calling it, quote, this isn't from me, quote, a boring, buggy, totally unambitious game that isn't even interesting in its failures. Damn, That's brutal, yo. Anyways, The Walking Dead Destinies is a $50 third-person action adventure that retells the story of AMC's The Walking Dead show, but lets players change the course of its history. You can make an enemy of the governor, or you can recruit him to your cause. Now, whatever you pick, you're meant to live with the consequences. And it definitely seems like anyone who buys the game will be doing just that. Like, seriously, I mean, the cutscenes in this video game, it's just stills. It's stills with some particle effects floating by to give it some motion and like some push-ins and some push-outs. That's all it is. It's not worth the $50. To break it down a little bit more, the reaction to Destinies mirrors that of Rise of Kong. Like, the visuals are PS2 era level, and the gameplay itself is laughable. Like, its cutscenes are as static as they come. Like, here's a snippet. Damn, $50 for that. Well, consider yourselves warned. Now, The Walking Dead Destinies launched last week on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. I think it's also in the trash, so you can check over there if you really want it. Oh, also, a PC version via Steam is due out December 1st. Square Enix has shared a ton of new gameplay details and screenshots for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth alongside a Red 13 narrated trailer. While the story is just a story so far catch-up, that will be included in the game's main menu for those who need a refresher on Final Fantasy VII Remake. Square Enix shared plenty of other bits of information too, including details of new regions, characters, and more. Now, the developer confirmed both active and classic battle modes will return in Rebirth, again letting players choose between fast-paced action or slower-paced decision-making. Now, the sequel will get a new difficulty mode, however, with dynamic joining easy and normal to allow for further player customization. Now, while Rebirth is a remake of the second chunk of Final Fantasy VII, just like the Part 1 remake, it will feature a wealth of new characters, 5 of which Square Enix has detailed today. Now, I'll read off the official character synopsis for you. Broden is the owner and operator of the inn at Calm. He bears a grudge against Shinra, offering to help Cloud and friends escape their would-be corporate captors. His gaunt appearance may be due to his recent bout with an unknown illness. Rhonda is the mayor and sheriff of Under Junon. Her home, once a prosperous fishing village, fell into decline after Shinra constructed a military fortress overhead and a deep-sea Mako reactor offshore. Despite Cloud and Friends' status of alleged terrorists, Rhonda still allows them to pass through her town. Priscilla is a cheerful young girl who lives in Under Junon, often seen swimming with the dolphin she trains. The offshore Mako reactor has contaminated the surrounding waters, and Priscilla fears for the safety of her dolphin friend and other aquatic creatures. Another new character is Billy, the grandson of Bill and owner of a chocobo ranch in Grasslands. This young ranch hand kindly offers to teach Cloud and company the ropes of chocobo wrangling, on the condition that they patronize his sister's shop. The fifth and final character revealed by Square Enix is Chloe, Billy's younger sister. She runs a shop on the ranch where she sells crafting materials and other curios. Warm and kind-hearted, she engages politely with Cloud and company and is grateful for their patronage. At the same time, she is worried about her brother's fixation on making money. Switching focus back to the main party of Cloud, Aerith, and so on, Square Enix also revealed that synergy abilities would make their debut in Rebirth. Now, these are powerful attacks in which two characters team up to perform, with more abilities unlocking as players level up their party. Cloud can launch Tifa toward an enemy to attack in tandem with Relentless Rush, for example, while Barrett can throw in Red 13 at high velocity to perform Overfang. The synergy skills have also been added, with these providing other benefits in battle beyond just doing physical damage. Cloud and Aerith can gather their strength to team up and perform a charged magical attack called Spellblade, while Cloud and Barrett can team up for a forward charge called Mad Dash that guards the pair before unleashing a 3-hit combo on an enemy. Whew. Now, Rebirth's February 29th release date is getting ever so closer, and fans are finally learning more and more about the game. Square Enix has previously confirmed it will feature new story content centered on Zack, and perhaps even incorporated backstory for Sephiroth included in the mobile game Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Now, as you may know, Venom 3 has resumed filming, which Tom Hardy teased with this image about a week ago. Now, this photo was snapped by the actor while on set in celebration of everyone getting back together to bring Marvel fans more Venom. Now we have further updates from the actor as he went back onto the social media platform with further details on where production stands on the third entry. Now, he goes on to talk about how proud he is of the team, his writing partner, and the entire cast and crew, which he considers friends and family. Now, the first line in the posting is Venom 3: The Last Dance. Now, him posting this might indicate that this is the final chapter in the solo Venom films. Now, that obviously doesn't mean this will be the last time we'll be seeing the Marvel character, as we know Sony is building what it's calling the Spider-Man Cinematic Universe. Now, while Sony seems to be focused on releasing more Marvel-related movies in 2024, Disney surprisingly seems to be more concentrated on pushing out Disney Plus-related Marvel content. Now, so far, Sony has Madam Web, Kraven the Hunter, and Venom 3 all releasing in theaters sometime in 2024, whereas Disney's Marvel Studios only has Deadpool 3 slated to release next year. But looking at Disney's MCU streaming schedule, there's 5 coming in 2024. Marvel's Zombies, Spider-Man Freshman Year, Agatha, Darkhold Diaries, X-Men 97, and Echo. Now, I'm excited for 3 out of 5 of those. Now, I'll let y'all guess which ones. Here's a hint. They're all animated. Now, Disney's Marvel movies have seen lots of shakeups, and that's without taking into consideration the actors and writer strikes earlier this year. Now, a great deal of MCU's movies suffered setbacks due to script rewrites, directors and writers leaving projects, and many other real-world factors, which saw Marvel Studios pushing back the majority of its MCU slate. And honestly, maybe it's for the betterment of this particular phase for Marvel. Now, 2023 hasn't exactly been a strong year at the box office for Marvel Studios, so maybe focusing on Deadpool, which is further along in the production process, is best. In the meantime, Sony's holding it down at the box office in 2024 with its 3 Marvel-related films, while we'll be getting quite a few Disney Plus shows to keep Marvel fans interested in what's to come from Marvel. And for all those Spider-Verse fans out there, Beyond the Spider-Verse currently is not on Sony's 2024 release calendar, which means it likely won't be hitting that March 2024 release and presumably delayed. Now, we'll of course keep you updated as news develops. Now, in other news, give it up to Blumhouse's latest success in Five Nights at Freddy's, which is now the production company's highest grossing movie globally. Now, the horror film based on the popular video game franchise is inching ever so closer to $300 million at the global box office. Now, even though the movie has received quite a handful of negative reviews, the fandom is strong and showed up to support Freddy Fazbear and his psychotic animatronic friends. Now, Blumhouse has been on quite a box office tear these past couple of years, with 2022's The Black Phone and this year's Megan proving to be quite successful for the company, leading to future sequels for each in 2025. Now, here's hoping we'll see a FNAF 2 in live action.
Dave Filoni, who's likely a household name for a lot of Star Wars nerds already, is about to be even more involved with that galaxy far, far away, as he's stepping into a new role of Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm. The announcement comes by way of an article by Vanity Fair in which Filoni explains how this changes his involvement, saying, quote, "In the past, in a lot of projects, I would be brought into it. I would see it after it had already developed a good ways." He continues, "In this new role, it's open up to basically everything that's going on. When we're planning the future of what we're doing now, I'm involved at the inception phase." Filoni will work alongside Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy and head of development Carrie Beck. From the sound of things, it seems like he might be playing a similar role to Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige. How that'll pan out, we'll have to wait and see. Filoni's work does speak for itself, though. Most recently, Filoni oversaw the Disney Plus series Ahsoka, whose titular character he co-created for the Clone Wars, and which featured a number of other characters from Rebels, which he's also the co-creator of. Filoni worked closely on the Clone Wars with George Lucas before the Star Wars creator sold the company, and The Mandalorian is a result of close collaboration between Filoni and Jon Favreau, so he's definitely earned his new job. There are a handful of Star Wars movies in various states of development, one of which Filoni is currently attached to direct, and his new role at Lucasfilm certainly makes it seem like it has better chances of actually coming out, which is more than you can say for a lot of the Star Wars movie projects that have been announced or heavily rumored over the last decade. Aside from movies, we've got some more Star Wars shows to look forward to in the coming year, between Andor Season 2, The Acolyte, and Skeleton Crew, all of which are expected to hit Disney Plus sometime in 2024.
I'm Stella Chung, and that was your Weekly Fix. We'll be back here next Saturday with more of the biggest gaming and entertainment news. See you then!